It's Thursday. You know what that means. It's time for Title Talk with your host, Drew Wishover, entrepreneur, published author, and owner of Inspired Title Group, along with his co-host and director of operations, Amy Maley. Each week, the team will offer industry terminology, tips and strategies, along with the occasional real estate professional to help educate as it pertains to buying, selling, or just plain old home ownership. We thank you for spending time with us today. Now, let's join this episode of Title Talk. Good morning, everybody. It is Thursday. You know what today is? The third day of summer.
It is.
Third day of summer.
It is.
We are in the summer.
We are in the summer. Sorry for being a couple minutes late. It's been one of those fun mornings over here. Batteries. Batteries got us today.
Title Talk. This is why we do this. We show you guys that life happens.
Life is happening.
You schedule at 10, you come in at 10:35. Things happen. It's okay. But we are glad you are here. We're glad to be here. We are Inspired Business Group. My name is Drew.
And my name is Amy.
We are coming to you again live with another episode.
Oh, thank God. You
almost couldn't come in, just like bobbing head.
Look at. Do you see it?
Oh, yeah.
That's so awkward.
Amy's almost transparent
I promise
today.
you I have a green dress on, but
that is
I just need to see if I can sit over here what it's going to look like.
A little bit better.
Maybe I'll stay over here.
That's weird.
Look at you're taking on the logo.
Yeah,
I?
You got the logo now. Yep, you got the bulb. This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy. So we're here today to chat with you about some title talk, some title terms. We're also going to just chat about the state of the state. Pardon me?
My teeth look white though.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, sorry, I'm back.
Are you back? Are you with
Kind
us?
of. I'm a floating head, but
So
yeah.
we're gonna kind of dive
I'm a
into
floating head.
talk to you guys a little bit more about
I'm a
title
floating
insurance and some definitions and terms that you guys might hear, as well as just kind of some life things that are going on in the world around us.
It's going to be a nice, short, sweet one
Yeah.
for you guys, though. Like 15
Absolutely.
minutes, 20 minutes of just talking a little bit of title, a little bit of life.
Yeah. You want to go first? You want to talk about it a little
Sure. What is title insurance?
bit? What is it?
Okay, so title insurance is usually broken into two parts.
God, I love that house.
Oh, don't do you like my driveway?
Yeah, you have Amy's driveway is right up in her midsection there.
So the house behind us is a house that we are going to be building in Merrillville.
Yep. No.
I'm sorry, in Crown Point, in Winfield.
Yeah, Winfield.
And
that is one of our Inspired Development homes. That is a beautiful home. If you guys are interested in that, you can talk to us separately. But title insurance, what is it?
title insurance, it's insurance
Okay, good.
for your title
Oh,
on your house.
wow.
Well, that's where the name comes from.
I guess so.
So, what title insurance does, it ensures that the house you are purchasing is rightfully your house. So, when you go to a closing, you get these things out of a closing called policies.
Yes, you do.
So, loan policies are something and owner's policies are something.
Mm-hmm.
Owner's policies protect your ownership in the property. Loan policies protect the bank that you are taking a loan out with.
Right. It protects the mortgage that they're that insures the mortgage that they're lending.
So if you are one of those people who can buy a house without a mortgage, you will only receive an owner's policy.
Mm-hmm.
So on your invoice, you will only see one charge. But on the other hand, if there is a loan that you are taking out, you will be charged for a loan policy as well.
Absolutely. And a lot of times people, wonder, do I have to do this? How does this dictated? Where does this really, come from and derive from? And I think that just going backwards a little bit, it is something that your lender, in all circumstances, if you're borrowing money, they're going to require that you get a loan policy.
Yes.
Because they want to ensure that the loan that they're giving you is insured from anything else popping up to kind of make a problem with their loan.
So it's their way of protecting their interest.
Yeah, that's 100% what that is.
Yeah.
And
so with this loan policy, what they do is they make sure they're a first lien, is what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
So what that would mean, if heaven forbid that a house would go into foreclosure, the mortgage is recorded first thing on that property that shows right underneath the property taxes, that if a foreclosure happens, the bank will recoup their money.
Right.
And that's kind of all the language that is, sorry, I kind of hijacked that for
No,
you.
it's totally great.
So the loan policy protects their interest in the property where, heaven forbid, anything happened, they are covered and safe.
That is correct. The biggest defects or the biggest risks that we see are back taxes issues, typical liens on properties, and then
Fraudulent
fraud.
deeds sometimes,
Yeah,
yeah, fraud
fraud.
I was gonna say.
So, those are some of the things that you're protected against. Because if you go ahead and buy a house and you don't have title insurance, and the previous owner didn't pay their taxes, those taxes are delinquent, you have no recourse. You are now responsible for those taxes, or bigger, you will potentially lose the house in a tax sale. So, it's really, it's something that,
Do not buy a house without an owner's policy. Title insurance is something that you need to do. It in the beginning, it seems like, oh, I can save $2,400 by
Right.
not buying a policy for my house. Never, ever, ever give that option to yourself.
yeah, it's really scary when we hear people talk that way. And obviously, this is something that is very near and dear to Amy, being the not only the director of operations of Inspired Title, but she is actually doing the title examining. So she is looking and taking a behind the scenes look into each and every property that we deal with, to determining what's going on and what's happening and where everything is, and is it in its right place, and has every conveyance to the date of your closing gone properly and been done correctly.
And one of my words actually on here is abstract title search.
I think that's a great segue into that.
So if you ever see on an invoice something called an abstract title search or a search fee or a search and exam or something, they all mean the same thing. So what that is, it's your charge to make sure that the property is rightfully getting transferred to you. I go through all the prior deeds, I go through open mortgages, I go through liens, taxes, all that stuff, to make sure that when you are getting this house, it is owned free and clear.
Yeah.
Free and clear.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I can understand why you say that with air conditioning and the heat and everything that we've been having.
Knock on wood!
Free on.
My air conditioner's still working. Stay tuned.
But
Maybe next week it won't.
To Amy's point, that fee, that abstract title search, we are having to literally go back into the archives of records
I
of
love
history
it. It is so cool.
on the property, and literally there are plants of information, not plants like grow, but plants that they store all the information of every transaction that has taken place on each and every property. So we literally go through those records to follow a path to say, yep, each transfer has happened in succession correctly, therefore we're comfortable to issue a owner's policy to you saying that, you know what, we've done our homework. You guys are gonna be okay buying this house, you're free of any liens and encumbrances, the taxes are paid and are current.
And the person
then-
that's selling it to you has the rightful.
Exactly, and the person has the
that-
ability to do it.
Yeah, can sell it to you.
So that's literally the process of what we do, and I mean, even to make it more awkward or odd, a lot of what happens is the transaction. People don't think about the what ifs. People don't think about the behind the scenes of,
And you don't think about it until it's too late.
and then the expense of that $2,400 or $3,000 or $1,500, whatever that title insurance fee is, that expense versus the loss, the risk that goes along with it, it's
huge.
nominal. I mean,
Right.
you just sit back and go, and you only pay it one time.
Yeah.
It's not like any other insurance.
Right.
It's kind of crazy. You got any other terms that we can share with the folks?
Well, when you were talking about, we check make sure every deed was conveyed
Yeah.
properly, the lenders will often ask for something called a chain of title.
Right.
And
right.
the chain of title is exactly what it sounds like. They'll sometimes ask for 24 month or 48 month, just depending on who you're dealing with. And what that means is they want to make sure that we did our job and checked the deeds so that we said the person who's selling it to you rightfully can sell it to you.
Yep.
So they call that a chain of title.
Yeah, no, that's a good one.
yeah. It's a fun one.
You guys may also see things like an encroachment, and those are really found on a survey that we look at before the closing to make sure that your house and any other structure that is part of the house, whether it be the garage or you've got an extended patio there or things, that it is within the boundary lines of your property. So if your house or any part thereof is over those boundary lines, they call those encroachments. And there are some things that go with that determine whether or not it's an insurable piece.
Correct.
Because, for instance, if you're encroaching on an easement, like a utility easement, so NIPSCO or ComEd could drive down that easement to service their power lines.
So yeah, that's what easements give the right to. So if you have like a 5 foot, sorry,
Go ahead.
if you have like a 5 foot public utility easement on the back of your yard, that means that theoretically for those 5 feet, anything that happens with the power lines, anything that happens with anything, the company has the right to
Drive down that
drive
easement.
through there, bash over any fences that might
Right.
be on there.
So if your garage is encroaching on that easement and it's impeding the ability of them to work or do things, they have the right to, knock down your structure.
Yeah.
And now what happens there? What does that look like? Who's insured for that? How does that get covered? So realistically, this is where that title insurance piece comes into play, and the encroachments are addressed at the time of closing to say, hey, this might be a problem. And if it is, and if there's a risk of loss, we got to talk about this.
Yeah,
So
we have to
again,
decide if it's insurable or not, and
Absolutely.
then you would get charged. An endorsement, which is another one of those fun words.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, endorsements are extended protection to a policy. So
They
we
are.
have anything from condo endorsements to for encroachment endorsements to gap endorsements. I will not bore you with all of those. If
No.
you are very, very interested in what endorsements are, there's a list of like 70,000 of them that I could share with you. So reach out to me if you really want to know all about endorsements.
You guys might have heard the term power of attorney. We're seeing a little bit more of this in the current climate of what we're doing, and especially with COVID and people not wanting to go out and leave their home and things. You are ultimately granting and authorizing an individual to act on your behalf. And I'll tell you that it's becoming more common, but I'll also tell you to be careful with them and make sure you understand them and make sure you read them. Because if I authorize somebody's ability to sign on my behalf to sell a house or to buy a house, you want to make sure that that's all it's going to do. It's specific to that deal. It's specific to that home, or it's valid for these days, because you are ultimately giving signing power to an individual.
Absolutely.
And they could do some criminal things if you don't kind of hone that in on exactly what you wanted to do. So definitely speak to an attorney to
Yes.
do that if that's something you're going to need to do. But
Yeah, there's
you-
a million different kinds of power attorneys out there.
Definitely.
There's limited, like there's so before you just go online and search power of attorney, make
Yes.
sure you know what you're getting into as far as
Yes.
who you're giving rights to do what.
Absolutely.
I also, this is one that when I first started working here, it was a big problem with me. So I'm going to bring it up. So usually in buy-sell transactions, there's these things called brokers. So brokers, they are the agents that work on behalf of the buyers and sellers.
Okay.
So there's listing agents and selling agents. When I started working here, I thought a selling agent worked on behalf of the seller.
Makes
Because
sense.
it made sense to me.
Right.
You're the seller's broker, you're selling for the
Right. Right.
John used to get so mad at me in the old SoftPro system when I accidentally used to flip
Flip-flop.
them every time. So, a listing broker or a listing agent is actually the person selling the property.
They're listing the house.
They're listing the house. The house. Whereas you have a selling broker or a selling agent that is acting on behalf of the buyer.
Right.
So that is one of those things that, like I said, when I think it took me like 2 or 3 months to actually enter it correctly, because every time I saw the word sell, I thought sell, ooh.
Yeah, and I
no.
think a lot of people in general just speak that because of, like you said, it's relatable.
It is.
easy
It's
to-
the sell, ooh.
Yeah, it's easy to relate to. If you guys have questions, if you guys have concerns about terms or want to know a little bit more about this, I mean, I know we've kind of segued into a lot of different things
Yeah,
in
we're
these last
touching
few
base,
months.
yeah.
But we just want to circle back and check in and talk to you guys a little bit about what it is again that we do. Kind of remind you that we are your closing agent. We are here to issue those policies. We are here to protect you in the policy and the whole checking of your property. And if you're selling, that's what we're going to do. We're here to facilitate that process for you.
Yeah.
I think it's something that we do well. I also know that our closing process has really been just ramped up and excited by our giving things. We talk about all the stuff that we do for our giving. We talk about the charity work that we're doing and things. Our underwriter happened to pop in here today, which is one of the reasons why we're a little bit later. But sharing that we're doing this title talk each week, they were just blown away. And one of the things that I'm just so excited to always bring up is that miracle piece of paper that we hand to the buyers at the end of the deal that says, hey, part of the proceeds from today are gonna go to a
Oh,
charity.
yes.
Which.
I was like, a deed?
Yeah, no, we at the end of a deal, we
Yeah,
pass
we do.
out, we hand off a piece of paper and say, part of the proceeds, part of the monies that we're earning, we're gonna contribute to a foundation, to a charity, but you guys pick it, and it really feels good doing that, and I'm telling you, the response has been nothing but remarkable, so.
Yeah, people really like it.
It's fun to do, it's fun to be a part of that, so I'm happy about that.
I am too.
What else we want to talk about, Amy? We want to tell them a little bit more about what's going on in the world and the climate and the people.
What is going on in the world?
There's a lot. Obviously, the refi market, right?
His,
I mean,
yeah,
that has
his
really,
dwindled
really
down,
slowed down.
a little bit. And just to speak, like, I was thinking about buying and selling houses too. So I know people usually get their head stuck in a number of what they want a mortgage payment to be. Like when you're looking for houses, make sure you're taking to account escrowing taxes in there.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge thing. If you think about it, if you're spending $8,000 a year on taxes, that's
Yeah.
an extra $700 that comes to your mortgage. But I would strongly advise for you to escrow your taxes and not just,
Yeah.
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 hope that you have a lump sum of $4,500 or $4,000 to give to somebody. So when you are looking in the market, make sure your site is set on realistic expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Because my husband and I started to look at houses, and once you factor in everything, like
Yeah. The number grows quickly.
the number grows so fast, and then especially with inflation now of what it is, like I always joke around that Joe and I used to spend like $100 on groceries that would last us,
Right.
2 weeks almost.
Yeah.
But now we're easily at $150 for
Well,
2
yeah.
weeks. Like everything has gone up like 1.5%, I think.
And I absolutely agree with that. And what a lot of people don't know is that you'll probably get nicked by the lender if you don't escrow those taxes.
Yeah.
Because you would think it'd be the opposite, but they're going to probably charge you 1/8 of a point to have you pay your own taxes. Because think about it, they get the use of that money. They're going to earn interest on that additional money that they're holding back or collecting from you in your monthly payment, so that they can then pay the taxes on your behalf.
Right.
So if you're a disciplined person, if you're a person who pays the bills on time and is very, very methodical about that, then that's great. Then you certainly are a candidate to potentially do that. But remember, it potentially can cost you.
My
But
father-in-law actually was telling me about that.
Mhm.
Like 1 year he refinanced and was like, you know what, I'm good with, I'm gonna pay my own taxes.
Yeah.
And he's like, and it's great until you get that tax bill that's like, please give me my $3,500, $4,000.
Right. Gotta cough it up.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut you
Yeah,
off.
totally.
No,
And it's definitely a discipline. But to Amy's point, the inflation numbers are obviously on the rise. People are talking about that with gas prices and food costs and.
Gas is down a little bit now.
Yeah, well, they're also talking about getting rid of the gas tax, which will lower it like 18 cents or so. But the reality is we're starting to see home prices kind of coming
Plateau.
down to a little bit
Yeah.
more of a realistic number. You're not getting a lot of the bidding wars.
Correct.
I mean, there's still not a lot of inventory, but I think what this does is this is going to now go from that seller's market. It's going to turn into it's going to flip.
I think so.
Right now, it is the sellers are getting this premium for it, but there's not a lot of inventory out there.
Right.
So now you might start to see some more inventory out there, so buyers can now have this pick of the litter, but the prices are still kind of a little bit crazy. So
I missed my chance to sell my house and move in with my parents for a couple
yeah,
years.
that's just it. Like a lot of people now recognize when we're talking last year and what was going on, you kind of go, wow, last year was a great time for this, or gee, this would have been a great time for this. And realtors today are doing such a fantastic job of having to react, and we've had a lot of them on the show that speak to that, is like getting in early and being on time and reacting to it. One of our favorite realtors who she is just dynamic with how she reacts to getting ahead of it, but you cannot afford to be a day behind it, even
No.
hours behind it.
No.
And so timing is really key too. So really engage yourself with the professionals who
Yeah.
you mesh with, who are really spot on in reacting and things, because again, time is of the essence in
It
this
is.
thing too. So
Yeah, it's not really a time where you can, look at 5 houses and sit around and think about it right now to see if you want to put in an offer. It's still
no, this is-
on that phase where if you see something, you need to put in an offer. But
Yeah.
I do think it'll start switching
Yeah.
a little bit.
I mean, we just before the show here, we were kind of talking and getting things organized, and there is a closing going on in our office currently, and the buyers and sellers are battling right now over the air conditioning. And they did their final walkthrough. They go through the house, and they said that the air conditioner, it didn't appear as though it was working because it was warmer in the house than what they thought it should have been. And the seller is sitting on the other side saying, we just had it serviced, it's a 3-year-old air conditioner, everything is fine, and now you've got the butting of heads and everything comes to a stop. So it's not only about the documentation, the loan, the policy, the title side of this. There are some legitimate battles that happen within that have to do with the house. The all the mechanicals in the house working, or we found water in the basement, or the roof is now leaking. These are all things that can happen at closings that people don't take into account.
Correct.
You just don't know.
Correct. And last note on this, be very careful about contracts that say as is on there. Speaking of this, because what that means is that you're taking this house knowing that the windows might be old, knowing that the air conditioner might not be working, and kind of saying that, okay, I get that. This is why I'm getting the house for lower. I'm planning on putting money into it.
Yeah.
So just be very, very careful when you're putting in something close to the top of your budget with an as-is contract, because just think of like what you should be saving, could be saving to kind of make up what you're.
Yeah, I mean, you know that you're going to have to fix things, know you're going to have to repair things. The as-is doesn't give you as much negotiation factor as
Correct.
a regular contract would
Correct.
do, because there's going to be things. So your inspector's going to tear that house apart and say, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and the seller's going to go, you're right.
Yep.
I know, that's why you're buying it as is.
Right.
So you have to kind of take that into account. And we like those from the development side, because
100%.
those are the ones that we're going to go in and fix. But the general population, the as-is, they kind of leave you kind of hanging, and
Unless you know a development company.
Yep, we can certainly help you out with that. So, but that is that is definitely something to pay attention to when you're in the negotiation process. And there are so many things in engaging the professionals, the realtors, the attorneys, as quickly as you can into the process, because right now the market's tough and closings are hard. I don't know that we've ever had a closing that you just sit back and goes, everything from soup to nuts was great.
I mean, my closing was easy.
Yeah, I mean,
My
you're buying
dad,
for
my
you're
father-in-law.
buying for your father-in-law, and those are what.
So now I just get to text him and be like, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
what's going on here?"
Let's talk about this water coming in.
I was an easy client.
Yeah, and so it's people are making it a little bit harder than they have to. The market is making it harder than it has to. So again, just buyer beware. Caution yourself on your steps, and if you have questions, please ask us. Ask your real estate team. Ask your attorneys.
Shoot us an email. Give us a call.
Yeah.
We'd be happy to chit chat with you and give us your.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So what do you think?
I think we should get these people
Let's give them the day. Let's
onto
let
their
them go.
beautiful day.
Yes, let's
Yeah.
let them do that. So
So don't forget to tune in the next couple days. Some fun stuff's coming up.
Yep. We are going to be doing some fun things with our Motivation Monday and
Two for
Tuesday. We'll have a Wacky Wednesday next week as well, and then again we'll be right back here next Thursday. So we thank you guys for taking some time with us today. We hope you had an opportunity to learn some things. But until next week, my name's Drew.
And my name is Amy.
We are Inspired
Business Group
Thank you.
Incorporated.
in Palos Heights. We're
Oh,
also in
okay.
Indiana. We thank you guys for tuning in today. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you guys next week. Take care, everybody.
Well, there you have it. That is it for this week's edition of Title Talk. Be sure to head over to our Inspired YouTube page and subscribe and like. And make sure you follow the team on Instagram and Facebook. Join us again next time for more tips and knowledge from the industry pros. Thanks again for listening.